All right, so this is Honeycomb? Honeycomb, right? Yeah. Well, right, Cadence, it is jamming, but I mean, it is still radar jamming. It's the same type that gets applied by a blanket. It's just not very strong. Do they have diminishing? Oh, yeah, because it goes into the jamming formula. Uh, yeah, it's just not worth it. I buy that. I buy that. Um, yeah, so this is Honeycomb. This is an interesting map because it it's a little bit hard to see from this angle, but if you look at points B, C, and A, they are much closer to one another than points D or E. So it kind of focuses the fight into this middle section, and point D and E, the wings, really don't get a whole lot of attention. So especially point C in the early game is very popular to kind of cause a furball over, and because once you have that top point, you can look directly down onto point B and A and have really good firing lanes. It looks like no one deployed in that specific angle though, so I'm wondering if we see kind of a non-standard play of this map. Honeycomb is one of the mod maps that's more well designed in my opinion. Oh, Apple's here. Oh, he was just talking to me. Okay. So we've got the bullfrog here. Sarissa's only on one side. This is interesting. This was a very popular design back in the day when you could broadside towards the enemy and just shoot them before we had, OSP do things like dump an insane amount of 450 fire off of a line ship. So this is not really standard anymore. Eating a whole bunch of 450 fire from a line ship into your broadside is not a good look for an Axford these days. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how this does, but this almost reminds me of like a pre-OSP designed Axford. And to go with that is a Pinard frigate, a kind of just like an escort. It's got a little bit of everything. A gun corvette ×2. I really love how this looks. Like the figure, a 250 on the bottom of a corvette cuts. Just mwah, beautiful. And let's see, we've got a missile beam Axford. This is very popular, or it was very popular back in the day. A little bit less popular now because of Acellos. Speaking of, I see 3 on the enemy team. But yeah, it depends on how well the missiles are designed, how devastating this fleet's going to be. Also armed with all Auroras, again reminding me of a pre-OSP fleet. Really do not see Auroras taken like this anymore. Literally all Auroras. Wow. So if like S2s or rockets or something comes at well, not rockets, but if containers were to come at this, these Auroras would be completely useless. And Starkingson again with the BB and the Stonewall fanny pack there. Over here, hardly. It looks like Plasma T30 for the most part. Monitors. He's got a couple rockets. I do like rockets on monitors. It adds a little bit of extra oomph that you can maybe push through. They're good if you have already hit them with plasma, which is the plan here. So if they get a broadside ambush off on somebody, these could be very, very dangerous. They don't have a whole lot of 100 mil, but they do have those rockets. So it's a little bit more burst focused, a little bit less sustain focused. We'll have to see if he's able to get an ambush or not. Meanwhile, Husif has taken 3 Acellos? I didn't even know you could do this. Okay, 2 of them are 250s. These must be like, yeah, the emptiest of empty. Wow. That is a lot of space that doesn't have anything in it. But they are armed with point defense. Are there any jammers? I want to see if there's jammers. No jammers. So entirely relying on a couple of Pavis and I think that's a defender. Oof. If this missile Axford finds these Acellos, they are going to have a real bad time. Over here with Peyote, we've got 2 EWRs. I like that. They're looking every which way, and also a mine layer monitor, pair of them. How many did he take? About 150. Make that 220. And another mine layer. Oh boy. Yeah, cheers, Raptor. I try. I'm not a huge fan of the mine all in. Mines are really, I mean, they're a great delaying tactic, but there's really no staying power, or like you can't push with a mine, right? So, I mean, we'll see. I do recall a match where someone had, a size 3 hybrid getting shot off by this Corvette. It's unfortunately run into the rest of the Acellos, though, and it didn't look like it took too much off of that tug to begin with. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to knock it, Captain Chaos. We have seen mine laying monitor all-ins do hilarious things here, but I don't know if this one's also going to work out like that. Let's see, Slugcat, looks like it's going to be 450s plus some missile backpack, some containers, interesting utility. He's taking, trying to find the missile there. He's taking torpedoes, okay. I've seen it too, Captain Chaos. It is on occasion hilarious, but I wouldn't say it's reliable. All right, let's check out the disposition here. That beam BB has done beam BB things and run directly into A. I would expect him to come over this crest and just drive straight into B. Unfortunately, A and S... Oh, here come the missiles. Like dreading. Did they make it in? Yeah, they hit. They definitely hit. Well, some of them hit. Didn't do too much, but if I were those Axfords and I just saw that amount of PD and the fact that the missiles hit, I would be shooting big mama at this fleet right here. OSP, kind of a defensive play here. They're not contesting C. So here's the furball situation I was mentioning that usually develops up here. We see Axfords being deployed here. The CL is also coming. Wait, there's a CL. I missed that. Did I miss this fleet? I did. It's 450s plus a missile gun hybrid. All right. Yep, here they come, as expected. Oops, let's get one of the Acellos here. More and more missiles just pouring into these Acellos. They're going to hit. They are hybrids. But there's so many... Oh, there goes that tug. Kind of interesting. These are really expensive missiles. Is there jamming here? Let me check real quick. No, there's no jamming here. So I'm not sure why they're missing. Kind of an unfortunate situation here. What type of guidance they have that they're just... There's absolutely no E-War happening at all. But there wasn't a whole lot of connects there. Much less than I was expecting. You know, yeah, this hybrid went in, but it hit on the nose, and there's nothing there, so it just, boop, no damage. See, I don't know about that. Personally, when I play OSP, I go to C. I think it's an excellent position for OSP to play. You've got those rocks there. You can easily pop up, unload your burst damage, or fire, your ambush weapons. It's a great location, in my opinion. But unfortunately, well, maybe not. We'll have to see how it shakes out. But in this particular instant, OSP has chosen not to do that. Usually you don't see a concentration of fleets on a flank like this. We'll have to see how it shakes out. Oh my. There come the initial burst out of the line ships, already dealing uncomfortable amounts of damage to this Axford. It should be turning away right now. It's probably going to go for that rock. That was 450s coming at it. So it knows now it needs to GTFO. But it looks like it's committed now. It wants to go to D. Oh, it looks like one of the bigger size 3 hybrids finally went through on this Acello. Surprisingly, none of it's dead. It has very little damage control, though. 2 DC teams, 1 restore. It's going to take forever for this thing to get back up. And it is being shelled by the Axford up here. D stands for Death by Mines, indeed. We'll see. I mean, this ship does have point defense on it. It's in the form of Auroras. Maybe Auroras. Oh, it's going to get 450'd a little bit more here. Looks like there's no fire lock, though. I guess the Acellos don't have blanket, or not blankets, bullseyes. Bullseyes would really help them out here. But because of that, it looks like this Axford, it's not getting away scot-free. It did take a couple hits, but it could have been absolutely devastating to get broadsided by 2 450 line ships. Instead, it makes it away with a medium amount of damage taken. I'm expecting the 450 to at any moment pop through and... Oh, no, it looks like it restored its drives. It is going to run away. Sort of an interesting turn of events here. ANS has dedicated absolutely nothing to go and take E point. So because of that and how this is shaking out, OSP's actually going to be in the point lead, which is an unusual situation. It looks like this Beam BB, though, which I expected to go over A and engage, has instead decided to park itself under its rock. This is in danger of...
The enemy secured zone Eclipse.
Oh, it's being engaged by the plasma monitors. That's the problem. Oof. A big beam hit coming out there. Instantly defanged that one. Looks like it managed to clip one in the... Okay, so this Beam BB must have caught these monitors while they were going under the map. And because of that, it's kind of surprised the ambush fleet. That's not a good situation for Hardly to be in here. The Beam BB is going to systematically kill these 2 monitors. There's nothing he can... Well, he could decide to go in on it, but he actually has... Oh boy. we missed this fight entirely. All of their noses are taken out. When did this happen? Nah, he doesn't need to be short. These things are dead in the water. He's only taken a little bit of damage, and in return, he's kind of defanged this entire fleet here and not taken a whole lot of plasma damage in the process. Like, that's 2 plasma hits that he's taken. And that was a rocket that instantly got swatted out by those stone walls. So because of that, more than likely, that monitor fleet is done for. Here come some Gales. Interesting choice. We'll go ahead and follow on this angle. Ooh, I was close to that battleship. Well, the monitor group, I mean, they had plasma. They had 100 mil. I wouldn't say they had no fangs, but they definitely don't have any more. Let's see what this missile Axford. Okay, so this missile Axford is up here. It's having a moment. It's getting a coffee refill. How many missiles did it fire? Yikes. So it fired a huge amount of missiles into these Ocellos and did not manage to do much damage at all. Which is interesting because these Ocellos, there's no jamming on them. They have point defense turrets, but it's 6 point defense turrets. I almost wonder what was happening with those Seeker combinations because, in my opinion, they all should have hit something, and they didn't for the most part. So there's plenty of firepower left on the OSP side, even with losing that monitor group. The problem for ANS here is that they're running out of time to go and make something happen. Oh, let's see if these rockets manage to do anything. Oh, here's one of the blind spot angles, but doesn't look like it's done much. Taking out that bottom turret. Yeah, this BB needs to roll. It needs to roll and get it. When you're fighting a monitor at point blank range, or really anything from the OSP at point blank range, there's a lot of wisdom for a beam battleship to go broadside on. You get that 3rd turret. I mean, if they're shooting you with plasma, it doesn't really matter what angle you present to them. If you're, within spitting distance like this. And being broadside is going to open up the side mounts here to protect you from rocket strikes. So definitely worthwhile to make sure that's happening. This monitor is going to absolutely die soon, though. Let's see what else is happening. The mine-laying monitor is going to take C. Wow. Perhaps not. We'll see what Apple can do. He does have 5 250s. Are these buffed? Yeah, a little bit. But it doesn't look like he's interested in moving out and engaging that monitor. So kind of a standoff for now. This monitor, of course, has no weapons that are capable of even shooting at these ships. So maybe it hopes to hang out there long enough to be forgotten about. That's its play. Yeah, one of the Ocellos did have a pair of Sarissas. They're not, they don't have junk point defense. It's just typically Ocellos take much more thorough defense onions. Let's catch back up on chat here. You should basically always be short your beams. So that's a big thing to claim, that you'll double your damage by battle shorting your beams. Like, that's a bold statement. Now, if you're using destroyers, yeah, that's absolutely true, because destroyers have a massive bonus to their battle short. It takes them much longer to burn out while battle shorting a destroyer beam. But a battleship beam, even with a couple of E-regs, you've got like seconds to fire those. Oh boy, this Axford triggered mines. Let's see if the Auroras are up to the task. He's going to have to battle short them, absolutely, or they will have no chance. Looks like they do the job, though. Wow. That was... that was slightly unexpected, even. Hey, I guess they're... He did battle short? Yeah, okay. Well, good for him, then. Aurora's not OP. Aurora's definitely not OP. But he did push the button that allowed him to live, so that's good for him. These 450 line ships might have something to say about it, though. They're probably not going to miss too much at this range. Let's see if the Axford can get away before... Oh, he's panic dumping the rest of his missiles. Are these size 2s? Yeah, they have to be, right? I'm not sure where they're going.
The enemy secured zone Eclipse.
But there they are. This is a pretty fast little guy. He's definitely flanking away, and he has fire. Oh, and that's the Acello shooting at him. Never mind, that is not fire support coming in for the Axford. That is fire support coming in against the Axford. As the 450s and the 250s too, it's about to get sandwiched and have a real bad day. Let's take a quick peek at what else is happening. Looks like A&S did send a Corvette over to E, so they have the 3 cap now. And meanwhile, that Axford and CL have probably dealt with that monitor upstairs. Let's see what happens to this Axford. Looks like the monitors have decided they're all in against this beam battleship. I'm going to guess that it's winning that fight handily. Well, it is taking a little bit of damage. I believe that bottom damage came from the rocket strike earlier, and I assume the other damage on the turrets is just from battle shorting. It should be fine. These monitors are already incredibly damaged, and yeah, it's a beam battleship fighting a half-strength monitor plasma combo. Not the best of places to be. I mean, if we take a look at the big picture right now, A&S has no ships destroyed. Meanwhile, OSP has half of 2 of their fleets, and one of them is... Ooh, is that a missile? One of them is a mine-laying fleet, so there are issues there. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with these Gales. I think they're being fired out of this fleet over here, and it's not been able to get illuminators on target. Oh, what are the mines going for? The Corvette. Is it Aurora Gaming? It is, in fact, Aurora Gaming. Oh, no illuminators at all? Uh-oh. Really? Defender. Did this have Gales? Where are those Gales coming from? I don't know. Oh, Apple's firing the Gales? Where's Apple? Oh, so this ship has no illuminators? Ah, yep, you're right. Well, luckily he only has 24 of them then. That's okay.
The enemy secured Zone Dagger.
So ANS with capturing E has pushed this into a 4 cap now. So they were slightly behind points, but they definitely won't be. Oh, a massive wake turn after the chaff. Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah, that's a dead tug right there. Slug cat. Oh boy, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. Oh, that's how it crumbles sometimes, man. Yeah, Wake secondary sometimes will do absolutely hilarious things, and that's a perfect example right there. Just just homed in on the drive cone and retargeted. Luckily, they weren't moving too fast, so they could make the turn. See you. Encountering a little bit of a slowdown in the game right now. These Acellos, I've been pretty cagey, honestly. I was expecting them to go out in a blaze of glory, but they've been played very defensively. I'm not sure how many rounds on target they've gotten. Surely a couple, but not a lot. Let's see. Yeah, not a lot at all. But they've done a good job of securing this point, and they were fighting against the ANS for a long time. Although they haven't been able to push them off of D. Yeah, OSP could be pushing a little bit harder. The problem is they can't. The monitors have all fallen to the Beam BB now. Meanwhile, that Beam BB, totally fine. Still got all 9 restores. It is aces. The Pat Yacht was playing a mine all in, so he can do literally nothing to recapture points that they've already lost. Slugcat is playing very defensively, but he kind of has to because he's tangling with three Axfords on this one flank, and these Acellos are playing, whack-a-mole with these Axfords and not pushing out a whole lot of damage. So I really don't see how the OSP pulls this back, as this beam battleship is now freed up to either come and push directly into the OSP or go for B or just hang out and chill there because that's all it needs to do. It looks like these 450 line ships have managed to kill this Axford as torpedoes ram home after plenty of 450 fire came in and disabled all the point defense. And that is a dead spinning Axford right there. Soon to be shot by a whole bunch more 450s. So they've done a good job in taking out that ship. The problem is now, how are they going to push to C or A? Even if they recapture D, that still puts them at a disadvantage. Yeah. If this line ship comes around the corner to finish it off. Up, see, here come the Auroras. They are not going to cut it versus these torpedoes as they slam into the rear. Gotta have a scram happening right now, or this thing is 100% going to die. Well, I shouldn't say right now. You can leave it until there's like, what is it, 35 seconds? Something like that. Oh, the scram happened. Nice. But unfortunately still dead. Too many 450s being pumped into it. Really well played by this player, though. Even though they brought Auroras, which is kind of unusual. They fended off mines. You know, they pushed OSP. So Scram is this little button right here, Emergency Reactor Shutdown. So you can see here this flashing thing. Each of the reactors in the game has a chance of going nuclear and exploding. But if you hit this button right here, well, you can read it. Basically, it kills the reactor that is in danger of exploding. It shuts off the ship for 30 seconds, but then it comes back up and it avoids exploding. So if you ever take like a whole lot of damage all at once into your reactor, oh, you know what it is? You just didn't know what it's called? Yeah. Scram is a Navy term for like shutting off reactors, I think. I think it came from nuclear submarines, actually. Not sure. Not a history buff. So, take stock right now. Yeah, OSP definitely takes D, but one of the line ships gets taken out by 450 fire. I assume it lost its it lost its drive, as is wont to happen on these poor line ships that aren't able to take the super chonk drives like ANS is. They lose their drives and then they get pummeled by 450. The tale as old as time. Same thing is happening to that Acello. Yeah, you can see already as it loses health just so quickly. And unfortunately, I mean, you know, that is how it is. But there's really no way for the OSP to push now into mass 450 fire. What is this beam battleship doing? Yeah, and this beam battleship is coming just to seal the deal. This probably just attack moved onto D. That's not a real thing. It's just a figure of speech. Before someone says something about that. No. Yeah. Emergency reactor shut. I mean, Scram is just easier and more fun to say, right?
The enemy secured zone Eclipse.
No, it's really up to the OSP if they want to surrender at this point. If they had some missiles, possibly they might be able to make something happen. But at this point, with 2 cannon Acellos and 1 cannon line ship, all of which are being shot at by 450 Axfords that are at the peak of health, it's going to be, yeah. Plus, the ANS is going to trip over to 900 points soon. So this mine player has actually managed to ninja E out. Well, I haven't heard that one. I do like some John Mulaney. You can't use his jokes, though. They're trademark. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's talk things that could have been done differently. This is a hard one. No, I mean, both sides pushed and engaged the entire time. It's sort of tough to make a call on this triple Acello. I mean, knee-jerk reaction is just that it's not good to thin out this much, because you really are compromising your ability to take fire in return, especially on something like a 250 Acello. There is no way you're taking a 250 Acello into an engagement against ANS and not getting shot back at. It's just impossible. There's no world in which that happens. Right, and you pay a lot for the Acello to begin with. So it's one of those cases where maybe, you know, that rule where I said, oh, take more hulls always is better. Maybe not necessarily true in all cases at all point values. Especially, I mean, going from 2 to 3 Acellos is not the same as, you know, having an Acello plus like 3 monitors or something. Especially if they are severely compromised, like point defense wise. There's absolutely no room for jammers if you do that. DC wise, you get maybe 1 restore per ship, 2 restores per ship, maybe. It's just a really real stretch. Taking 2 450 Acellos is already, you know, you're having to make tough decisions, and then to take a third one is just poof. If you want to do a gun lineup like that, a much better platform, I think, is to go with the line ships. You can take 2 250 line ships and 1 450 line ships, and that'll work fine. That'll work great. That's probably even more firepower than like 3 Acellos, honestly. So yeah. Yeah, I'm not a real fan of the 250 Acello, Ketober. Just because you spend so much to get the hull, and it's a 450 color carrying hull, and I'm not a huge fan of the triple barrel 250 to begin with. I just don't think it's that good. And it's definitely like, you can take a 250 line ship, throw a couple ammo elevators and cycle cradles on that thing. That thing will slap. That thing will decimate a light cruiser if you fire AP at it. Like, it's disgusting what one of those things can do. And I've never felt anywhere near that amount of danger come out of a 250 Acello. Like I mentioned at the very beginning of the match, taking a mine all in is very risky. If you can push enough mines and get the game into a state where you've had points advantage and they have to kind of YOLO in at the end and take a point or die, then the mines can be super effective. But if you're down, if you only have 2 caps at the start of the game and you've been pushed out, you're kind of screwed as a mine all in. Like, you're real screwed. Because there's nothing you can do with your mine ships. There's no reason to push with a ship that has no guns. Like, what are you going to do, right? So yeah. Looks like Goldstee's handling the Gale. Yeah. I mean, the monitors, once you get that plasma out and they're all firing their T-30s, it can do some damage. It's just, it has a ramp up. And, well, oh, you mean, well, they had 2 T-30s and 1 plasma. Oh, no, they didn't, because they took the rockets, right. I mean, I wouldn't say this is necessarily an issue with the fleet design so much as they got caught by a beam battleship. If they run into the beam battleship at 7 kilometers and they kick it into reverse, you know, maybe that's a fight. But like, they got jumped on. I think that was 3 kilometers, maybe. So the beam is just like wrecking their absolute existence, and they can do nothing in return because they're not even pointed in the right direction, right? That's the story of what happened there. More than necessarily that this is a badly designed fleet. Um, they just walked into a bad engagement. Yeah, they can do one thing, die. This is more what I was just like, you know, these are really low numbers for Ocellos. And they had standoff range engagements like they want to have. They just, they had no staying power because of how they're built. The mines, I don't think anything got hit by a mine. Maybe, okay, so this might have been like a Corvette or something. And then these line ships, I think these are fine. Like line ships with a little bit of missile backup. It's okay. Yeah, torpedoes all hit. That's fine. ANS side, I don't have huge complaints really. They all played well. They all did good damage numbers. So yeah, good game. Oh, let me ready up. My bad. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yes, I will continue stream.